Hey, hey.
I'm groovy, groovy, groovy. Fresh squeeze, no John, but still I'm that smoothie. Smoothie, smoothie. Walk around town like you wish you knew me. See, every day feel like a 4K movie. Movie, movie. Yeah. You know why they call me Wi-Fi? Man, I got them balls all day. I make it look too easy. Even Stevie say he see me. Top down when I slide through palm trees, moving ballet. If the mood right, I just might let you.
You can catch up on this way. You can catch up on this way. You can catch up on this way. Gotta get you on the way. You can catch up on this way. Going down. Gotta get you on the way. Ride with me, slide with
Man,
me,
I'm
catch me
tired,
on
man,
that
and
way.
I'm free.
Ride with me, slide with me, we ain't got all day, got to ride. Oh, let's ride.
I'm riding straight up vibing. This that California. Every day hit a vacation, so you know.
You can catch up on this way.
Top down when I slide through palm trees, moving ballet. If the mood right, I just might let you. You caught the wave, but you can't swim. Take a lesson from your boy, that's a great hymn. Full of vibes on the vibe, that's a great win. Gotta set a 5-roll for the late den. Hit the PCH today. Sliding bass line like a Michael J. Even if you got a late start today, it's never too late.
You can catch up on this way. You can catch up on this way. You can catch up on this way.
I'm groovy, groovy, groovy. Fresh squeeze, no John, but still I'm that smoothie. Smoothie, smoothie. Walk around town like you wish you knew me. See, every day feel like a 4K movie. Movie, movie. Yeah. You know why they call me Wi-Fi? Man, I got them balls all day. I make it look too easy. Even Stevie say he see me. Top down when I slide through palm trees, moving ballet. If the mood right, I just might let you.
You can catch up on this way. You can catch up on this way. You can catch up on this way. Gotta get you on the way. You can catch up on this way. Going down. Gotta get you on the way.
a wave, but you can't swim. Take a lesson from the boy, that's a great hymn. Full of vibes on the five, that's a great win. Gotta set a 5-0 for the late game. Hit the PCH today. Sliding baseline like a Michael J. Even if you got a late start today, it's never too late.
You can get up on this way.
What up, what up, what up? Can everybody hear me out there? What's up, Clarence? Thanks for joining in. Thanks for tuning in. All right, today I'm just doing a pre-mix, so I'm getting the session ready to be mixed. I like to call that a pre-mix. Makes sense to me. I don't know what other people call it. Maybe session prep. I'm not sure. But right here we got this song by It's Circle Time, which is an amazing children's YouTube channel on YouTube. They've grown significantly in the past couple of years, and I've been helping them with the music, especially on the editing end, mixing, mastering end. Every once in a while I produce a song or co-write a song or something like that, every blue moon. But mostly I'm making sure their sound quality is awesome, because they make great content. They deserve awesome quality. So this one's called Catch a Wave. I'm digging it a lot. I think it's really dope. It's got that beach vibe, real relaxing. We don't have that many instrumental stems, which is dope. We don't have that many tonal stems. So really everything's already organized in the session. We got the effects down here. We got the tonal instruments, the instruments that have notes and have chords, and then we have all the drums up here, and then all the vocals are up here. So just for clarity's sake, I'll go ahead and make all the vocals one color, just so we know what's going on and how everything's organized. I'll make all the drums one color. If you press Option C in Logic, it'll bring up this color palette where you can change the colors of regions pretty easily. All right, so while I'm doing that, before this thunderstorm happens, it looks like we're about to get a thunderstorm here in California, which almost never happens. It's pretty cool. Let's see. All right, let me play it again. And while I'm playing it, I'm just going to be cleaning up the regions, making sure they don't have too much dead space. And so I know where everything is, so I don't have to go searching through the session like, where's that sound? Where's this sound? Everything's organized. I know where it is quickly, and I can find it. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of a lot of the empty space. If you want a shortcut for that, you can press Control X on the region. I like to make it big sometimes to see. That's pressing Z. You tap on the region, press Z, it'll make it big. And if you press Control X, it'll bring up this menu where you can change the threshold, and it'll automatically get rid of the silence. So I'm going to do that while I'm listening to it, getting the gauge for the sound, what I want to change, what I want to enhance, what's sounding good already that I want to kind of leave alone. I'm just making mental notes while I clean this stuff up.
I'm groovy, fresh squeeze, no John, but still I'm that smoothie. Walk around town like you wish you knew me.
Doing good, Clarence. How are you?
See every day feel like a 4K movie. You know why they call me Wi-Fi? Man, I got them balls all day. I make it look too easy. Even Stevie say he see me. Top down when I slide through palm trees, moving ballet. If the move right, I just might let you.
You can catch up on this way. You can catch up on this way.
a wave, but you can't swim. Take a lesson from your boy, that's a great hymn. Full of vibes on the five, that's a great win. Gotta set a 5-roll for the late den. Hit the PCH today. Sliding bass line like a Michael J. Even if you got a late start today, it's never too late.
You can get up on this way. You can get up on this way. You can get up on this way. My song, you can get up on the way. You can get up on this way. Get down, get up on the way.
What up? What up? How did you start in the music industry? Like, what was my motivation? Oh man, that's a deep one. For me, I never saw music as a career, to be honest with you, until probably after college. So I did high school. In high school, I played violin and trombone and baritone. So I was always involved in music ever since fourth grade. But it was just a hobby. It was something that I liked to do, something for fun. And then honestly, I think what changed the course for me was the Neptune run in the early 2000s. I just thought everything they were doing was super dope. And it was just literally, I wanted to know how to do that real bad. So that's when I started really going down the rabbit hole, started making beats, started writing songs, working with people on albums and stuff. And basically after that, I just got a taste of it and I just never stopped. I just really liked making music, making songs, and I was really curious about how everybody's songs on the radios was just so much better than mine. And I was like, how do I get my ideas to sound as good as their ideas? And it took about 20 years to figure it all out, but I'm here. So that's kind of how I got started with music. As far as it being a career path, I didn't go to school for it until after I already had a bachelor's degree. So it was definitely a left turn. I went to school for electrical engineering at NC State. And shout out to the Wolfpack. But yeah, that was cool. If you guys have got any more questions, go ahead and ask me, because today is mostly a cleanup day. I'm just making sure that the session is nice and organized. So when I'm ready to dial in, I'm just laser focused on what I got to do and not worried about where things are, struggling to find sounds, struggling to know which sections I need to work on. And for me, I like to work on the most important instruments first and like to go from the bass up when I'm mixing. So I like to take care of the sub frequencies, the drums, like the low kicks and stuff like that, the low toms. And then I like to tack the mid range after that. And once I've cleared up the mid range and the bass instruments, and they all are sounding good, then I'll move on to the higher frequency stuff like the hi-hats and the big swooshes and all that stuff. Yeah, so this is just how I like my sessions arranged. Everybody likes things differently, but I'd say in general, the majority of professional engineers I've seen kind of have a similar setup. All right, let me go ahead and play this song a bit more just so I can really get it into my ears.
I'm groovy, groovy, groovy. Fresh squeeze, no Jamba,
So
still on
those
that
vocals,
smoothie.
let's go ahead and find out where those vocals are. Those background vocals, they're very mono. They're all in the center, and I don't want that. I want them to be panned, and I already have pre-pannings in my template. So let's see. Yeah, they're all in the center. I can tell right here. We're looking at the panning. So we'll open up the mixer. Well, first, let me unhide my tracks. I'm pretty sure. Okay, so no. I do have some unhidden tracks that are already pre-panned. Nope, these aren't pre-panned either. All right, so I'm going to have to do the panning on these. And for me, for vocals panning, I used to go far left, far right all the time, but I kind of don't do that anymore. I kind of like to stick to the 45, 30 range, because when you push it too far wide sometimes, especially if there's a lot of instruments, tonal instruments going on, it just becomes, it's just a personal taste, to be honest with you. Like I could go super wide with the instruments, or I can go super wide with the vocals. Kind of hard to go super wide with both because then you start to lose some energy. So I like to have my vocals, since they're more important, more centered, and then the instruments bigger. So it's like the vocals are sitting in a nice big space. So I'm gonna go ahead and pan these backgrounds left and right accordingly.
I'm groovy. Fresh squeeze, no John, but still I'm that smoothie. Walk around town like you wish you knew me. See, every day feel like a 4K movie. You know why they call me Wi-Fi? Man, I got them bars all day. I make it look too easy. Even Stevie say he see me. Top down when I slide through palm trees, moving ballet. If the move right, I just might let you
Can catch up on this way. You can catch up on this way. You can catch up on this way. You can catch up on this way. On the way.
Okay, another thing I like to do while I'm editing all this noise out is to hit this button right here, and this makes the waveforms a lot bigger. So we make sure we're not deleting anything that's just a small waveform. It still possibly could happen, but it's very unlikely once you press that button, and if it was recorded loud enough. All right, so I'm gonna delete a lot of this empty space on these backgrounds, so I know when they come in. Always been a such passion for the past 1 year or so. They love Mektis. I've always been obsessed and passionate about music. In the past 1 year or so, I've thought about going to school for music and sound engineering, but a lot of people say I shouldn't because AI. I wouldn't let AI deter you at all, because I've seen AI people who have no background in music whatsoever use AI, and it's cool, it's fun. But the people who have a background in music that are using AI, their stuff that they're making with AI is so much better right now. Like, they're using it as a tool, and you can take it and enhance it and do all kinds of different things. It's really just a speed thing. To me, I see it very similar to using loops. Back in the day, they didn't have all these loop libraries like Splice and stuff like that, where you can just easily import loops into your songs. You actually had to play them, or you actually had to buy your own loop pack from somebody, and only certain loop packs would go viral and everybody would have it, but for the majority, everybody would find their own loop packs, and so the music was a little bit more unique in that way. But things like Splice have millions and millions of sounds, so it's also, you don't have to use the same popular ones. But honestly, they're all just tools. The AIs is just tools. It helps you create faster. It will replace some jobs, but it's not going to replace every music job for sure. I think it's going to honestly make people crave real music and real live musicianship even more. All right. So for regions like this is a take folder in Logic. So he's already taken the take. So what I like to do, I like to make a new track alternative. And so the way to get this to show up on your screen is you have to right click on the track and go to track header components and make sure track alternatives is checked. If it's not, you won't see that option. And then what it does is it allows you to make a duplicate and allows you to have the original there always. So I can always go back to this original if I need to redo one of the takes. Like if one of the breaths is cut in half or something like that, it happens a lot. I'll just go back into the other one and recomp it and flatten and merge it again. So the shortcut to flatten and merge that I use is Option U. and it just automatically flattens it and merges it. So it's no longer a take floater. We have our comped take. And I'm going to do that for all of these because if I need to undo it, I can always undo it by going to the track alternative. Cool. So we have those flatten and merge. Everything's flatten and merge. Just got to get rid of some of this empty space. And then I'll be ready to do like I need to do vocal editing, and then I'll do like a brief balancing of all the instruments the way I hear it in the studio. So this is the way that was sent to me. So it's the way they heard it in their studio and the way they like it. So we want to make sure we don't butcher their ideas, but we just only enhance. So it's only up from here. What's up? What's up? If you're just joining me, I'm working on It's Circle Time song called Catch a Wave. And I'm doing the pre-mix. I'm getting it ready to be mixed. I'm going to mix it probably tomorrow or later tonight, one of the two. And yeah, I'm just getting it ready to be mixed. So right now, I'm just going to listen to the vocals and listen to everything, see if I need to tune any parts, if I need to do any type of different arrangements for any parts, like as far as editing the timing or anything like that. Let me rewind that.
I'm groovy, fresh squeeze, no John, but still I'm that smoothie. Walk around town like you wish you knew me. See, every day feel like a 4K movie. Do you know why they call me Wi-Fi? Man, I got them balls all day. I make it look too easy. Even Stevie say he see me. Top down when I slide through palm trees, moving ballet. If the move right, I just might let you
Catch up on this wave.
Okay, so I just want to make sure these are panned as well. Okay, I didn't even hear these. These are just ad libs. So let's go. I'm trying to find the ooh, because I want those to be on their own little bus, because those are very important. And I don't like it when two different parts are overlapping in the same bus, because then the compressor starts to fight each other because they have different entry points. So I'm going to move all of these tracks to their own bus, their own background bus. So these haze are there. I don't want to interrupt those. So I have some hidden buses right here where I can turn them on. I encourage everybody to have their own template. That way you can work fast as well. So this is C center, that's wrong. Okay. Yeah, there's some organizing I need to do with these backgrounds. So this is how many? 4 tracks. I'm gonna move these 4 tracks. Actually, I'm just gonna move the content of these 4 tracks to these, because these should be already pre-panned, I hope. 9, let's see. And then for this bus, let me make sure there's nothing else that's overlapping.
When I'm in my zone, gotta catch up on the way.
So that's a lot of overlap right there. I thought that was the oop. So what is this? Let me see.
Catch up on this wave. You can catch up on this wave.
Okay, those overlap as well. So yeah, I think I'm gonna need a lot of buses. I'm probably gonna use all 4 background buses on this song. So I'm gonna do another. Oh man, I usually have 4. Where's the 4th one? Okay, I'm gonna do another bus. If you press Command D on this whole thing, it'll create a whole nother section of all this stuff that's in here. And I'm just gonna change it and call it background D. That way we have 4 sets of backgrounds. And again, the reason why I'm doing this is because when they overlap, they'll hit the compressor at different moments. And so you don't want one of the parts to completely mask the other part so you can't hear it. So I'm just changing all these backgrounds to D. It'd be nice if there was a fast way to do that in Logic. What's up? What's up? We gotta work. Kwamisa. Yeah, hit me up. All you gotta do is shoot me a DM or go to kofiajmusic.com and check me out. Also, I'm doing webinars. I'm doing a live webinar this Wednesday at 1 p.m. Just shoot me a DM and I'll send you the information. I'm discussing how I work and the process and everything about working with me. Okay, so now let's take that background. We have these on a separate one already. Now let's take this and put it on a separate background, so that we have separation with all the different background parts. Okay. For me, I don't mind if they're harmonies, they're doing the exact same rhythms and stuff like that, then they can stay on the same bus. But when they're doing different rhythms, I like to put them on different buses. All right. This is a perfect example. These are the same rhythm. There's no like fighting rhythms. They're all doing the same. So even this, the and downs, they're doing it at the same time as these are, so it's all good. So these being all on the same bus is totally fine. So yeah, I think I got that organized better. Now, let's just make sure everything has its own pan. So left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Cool. So I'm good on that bus. So I'm gonna hide these extra tracks that I don't need. Whoa. If you press Shift, then Option M, you can turn them off, and then Control H hides them in Logic. So we got that. I'm doing the same thing here. And then I'm gonna double check that they're all panned. They are not panned, so let's go ahead and pan these. Well, actually, I'm looking at the waveform. You can tell if they're been pre-panned or not, just because they're different. So this is like the left side of the stereo image. This is the right. So this one is pulling left clearly, and so is this one, and this one's pulling right. So what I really don't need to do, these are already stereo tracks. Instead of mono tracks, I can just change these to be stereo tracks. I think that might be the case for all of them, honestly. So if I hit this button right here, it makes them all stereo tracks. Now they're all going to be panned correctly how Dom wanted them, or whoever sent the vocals. So that's dope. So I'm actually going to change all of these tracks to stereo tracks, and it'll already have its panning on it. So right now they're mono, change them to stereo. It automatically changes the plugins that are on there as well, so that's good. All right, so we have these 2 buses taken care of. Now we have to take care of this next bus, which is just a hype track. It's fine. I was thinking about just consolidating it to one track, but it's okay. 49, 48. Okay, I'm just gonna hide these extra tracks. These are already, they're already panned. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, I'm gonna move this down to be left, right instead of being on the center. And they're panned left, right correctly. And then hide the extra tracks again. Cool. I think that's good for the organization. Where's interesting? We have no lead Vox 1. All right. I also don't like to have too many doubles on the lead track. I used to, but it's easier for my exporting system to separate them. So it looks like this is the main lead, and then these are the lead stacks. Let me just double check though.
Woo! I'm groovy. Fresh squeeze, no John, but still on that smoothie. Walk around town like you wish you knew me.
Yeah, they're lead stacks, so they're basically doubles of the lead. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this lead, the main lead, I'm going to put it on its own bus. And then I'll use this as my doubles bus. It's hard pan left and right. I don't really want to hard pan these. I'll probably like go to 20 so I can keep the verses tight. And then in the hooks, it'd be spread out a lot more. Usually gives the illusion of bigness. So that is good. Okay, I think everything is organized well now. These are the ad libs. I have to import this last ad lib. Let me see if he did that. I'll do it later. Okay. Yeah, let's listen to the acapella because it sounded like the backgrounds are already tuned and the lead is already a rap, so I don't really have to tune any vocals on this track, which is great. All right, let's hear acapella, make sure everything sounds good and it's in a good place.
Woo! I'm groovy. Fresh squeeze, no John, but still on.
And while I'm here, since I have everything bussed to the correct places, I'm just going to go ahead and adjust the volume knobs as well. So you get a decent balance acapella wise. Why not? And that way all the vocals are already in balance with each other. And then I'll go through with each instrument and just do a general volume leveling. So I just want to get everything at a general volume. I just want to use panning and volume. I don't want to use EQ and compression and any of that stuff right now. Right now I'm just getting a general mix. And that usually sounds a lot better after the general mix. It's a lot better to make small adjustments to get the real mix done. All right, so here we go with the acapella.
Woo! I'm groovy. Fresh squeeze, no John, but still on that smoothie. Walk around town like you wish you knew me. See every day feel like a 4K movie.
All right, one other thing is that's a shortcut is I have a template for DOM already, so I'm gonna go to my template and go ahead and put that on. So it should be DOM at circle time, Vox lead. As you can see, I got a whole lot of them. I need to delete some of them. Some of them are outdated. It's probably this one. Yeah. And so he's on Vox A, lead Vox A bus and lead Vox B bus. So I think I just put it on B. Yeah. So I'm going to copy that and put it on my B bus as well. And I'm going to turn off the reverb. I don't want any reverb right now. Vocals will be dry. And then I'm just going to get a general balance between them all. I'm going to leave the backgrounds how they are because I don't think I've edited this singer before. Actually, maybe I have, but I don't have a template for this singer. So I'm just going to turn off all the plugins on their bus, and now I'm going to get a general balance. All right, here we go.
Woo! I'm groovy. Fresh squeeze, no John, but still on that smoothie. Walk around town like you wish you knew me. See every day feel like a 4K movie. Do you know why they call me Wi-Fi? Man, I got them balls all day. I make it look too easy. Even Stevie say he see me. Top down when I slide through palm trees, moving ballet. If the mood right, I just might let you catch up on this way.
So I felt like the lead stacks were a little loud, so I'm gonna turn them down a little bit. So I'm gonna listen to that one more time.
Groovy. Fresh squeeze, no John, but still I'm that smoothie. Walk around town like you wish you knew me. See every day feel like a 4K movie. Do you know why they call me Wi-Fi? Man, I got them balls all day. I make it look too easy. Even Stevie say he see me. Top down when I slide through palm trees, moving ballet. If the mood right, I just might let you catch up on this way.
You can catch up on this way.
Oh, that's for certain. I found my purpose. Now watch me surf it. You can catch up on this way.
So clearly this one's super low. We need to turn this up. All right, so they're not balanced here. Let's go to the mixing window, the mixer window. So these volumes are all different volumes. Let's just make them all the same for now. And then let's see if we can get them more balanced. So this one comes in first, these four. So I'm gonna mute this for a second. And just make sure that comes in at a decent volume.
I found my purpose. Now watch me surf it. You can catch up on this way. I found my purpose. Now watch me surf it. You can catch up on this way. You gotta catch it.
All right, so I'm just gonna turn this up a little bit more. I think I'm gonna turn the whole bus up because I'm already at 0. So really can't turn it up that much more. So I'm gonna turn the whole bus up to 0, see what that sounds like.
You gotta catch it. Hey, you gotta catch that way.
Okay, so that's better. Now I'm gonna unmute these and see if they match as well. So way louder, right? So we can turn this down, and then maybe I'll just gain this up because I think that's part of the issue. I can highlight them all, get the gain tool, raise it up by 6. Really dope harmony though. So these already have reverb on them, so that's good that I soloed it. So now I know that they already have reverb. All right, so with It's Circle Time, there are a lot of times they let me make edits, and I do feel like this is a bit cluttered right here. I don't think we need both of these happening at the same time because you can't even hear them because they overlap too much. So let me mute one of these and see which one sounds better. Yeah, I didn't miss muting this at all, so let's just do that. And I'll probably do that for each time it happens. So this fourth one we don't need. This overlaps what he's saying right there. So yeah, I think that'll do it. Okay, now I think that's it for the vocals as far as balance goes. Not going for a perfect balance, just a general balance. I don't think anything's popping out super loud or super soft. I can hear pretty much everything now. Trying to see if there's any part that I haven't covered. I think these ad libs, let me make sure these ad libs are a decent volume, then I'll start adding instruments.
Ride with me, slide with
Man,
me,
I'm
if
flyer
you know
than
that
a
way.
summer breeze.
Ride with me, slide with me, we ain't got all day. You got to ride. Come on, let's ride.
I'm riding straight up bobbing. This that California I ate. Every day hit a vacation, so you know.
You can get up on this way.
Top down when I slide through palm trees, moving ballet. If the mood right, I just might let you. You caught the wave, but you can't swim. Take a lesson from your boy, that's a great hymn. Full of vibes on the 5, that's a great win. Got a set of 5 roll for the late den. Hit the PCH today. Sliding bass line like a Michael J. Even if you got a late start today, it's never too late to. Hey!
All right, that's pretty decent. All right, now I'm gonna start adding some instruments. Let's add kick, snare, kick and back beats. Let's just do kick and back beats.
Oh, that's for certain. I found my purpose. Now watch me surf it. You can catch up on this wave.
So right now the snare is definitely too loud. A lot of times, since the snare is a higher frequency instrument, you can tuck the snare a lot of times and it sounds pretty good. If you want a punchy snare, like you want to feel the snare, then it's a lot of times it's a mid-range, mid-low type of frequency, like 125, 250. That'll get that done. You don't have to do it with volume. So a lot of times the volume and the snare is too loud in a lot of songs. I typically do that, and I have to tuck it just to make sure it's not too loud. I intentionally make sure that the backbeat isn't too much.
Oh, that's for certain. I found my purpose. Now watch me surf it. You can catch up on this wave. You gotta catch it. Hey, you gotta catch that wave.
Okay, that balance feels a little bit better. I think it's a little loud, but I'm gonna just turn it down just a little bit.
Oh, that's for certain. I found my purpose. Now watch me surf it. You can catch up on this wave. You gotta catch it. Hey, you gotta catch that.
All right, now let's add the bass.
Oh, that's for certain. I found my purpose. Now watch me surf it. You can catch up on this wave. You gotta catch it. Hey, you gotta catch that wave. Oh, that's for certain. I found my purpose. Now watch me surf it. You can catch up on this wave. You gotta catch it. Hey, you gotta catch that wave.
All right, how I choose to do these, I look to see which instruments are playing the most, so which ones are the most important, and I like to build from the bottom up. So next I'll do the mid-range instruments, I believe. Yeah, I already have all the vocals going, so I'm gonna just add maybe this one, this backbeat snare as well, because there's another snare layer in the last hook, it looks like, to give it some beefiness, I assume. And then I'll go to the tonal instruments, which are here in green, because they're also the mid-range instruments, and then everything left remaining will be super high frequency stuff that I can do pretty quickly, and I like to do that with the volume down a bit. So right now I have the volume at like a moderate level, and yeah, I have the volume at a moderate level. I'm just gonna attack all the drums first that have mid-range instruments, and then I'll go to the mid-range tonal ones, and then all that will be left is high frequency stuff. So to me, I feel like the Rhodes and the oohs are kind of in the same range and they're masking each other. So this could happen with frequencies like with EQ and all that as well. But right now I'm only gonna touch with panning. I'm only worried about the stereo field and the volume. So I'm gonna find the oohs and I'm gonna solo that and I'm gonna solo it with this Rhodes instrument and make sure that they don't overlap too much. So what I'm gonna do is mute the ones that I haven't done yet. That way I know I haven't done them. Okay. All right, now let's solo the Rhodes and solo the oohs, which I think it's this one. So I like where the Rhodes is sitting. I'm gonna move the vocals instead. Quick way to do this is to go to S1 Imager and go to the bus that I have all these on and just do it that way. All right, so I'm choosing to make the vocals wider than the keys are because the keys, they just sound good where they're at, so I don't really want to mess them up too much. And it seems like they're more in than they are out. So I'm gonna make the backgrounds wider. Dope, that's great. Now I'm gonna go back to where I was.
Oh, that's for certain. I found my purpose. Now watch me surf it. You can catch up on this wave. You gotta catch it. Hey, you gotta catch that wave.
All right, we got like a little clavinet type of sound. I'm gonna pan that a bit. It's important, but it's not like, everything's important, but it's not the focal. So I want to pan it to the left or pan it to the right, just so it's like ear candy, and it's keeping the rhythm.
Oh, that's for certain. I found my purpose. Now watch me surf it. You can catch up on this wave. You gotta catch it. Hey, you gotta catch that wave. Oh, that's for certain. I found my purpose. Now watch me surf it. You can catch up on this wave. You gotta catch it. Hey, you gotta catch that wave. Oh, that's for certain. I found my purpose. Now watch me surf it. You can catch up on this wave.
Another thing I like to do is like to balance things out. So these congas, like I said, they're another instrument that's not like the focal. They're important. They're nice little ear candy to help tie things together, but they're not the kick. They're not the snare. They're not the lead vocals, stuff like that. So it's all good to pan it to the right or left, whichever you like. Since I panned this right, I took this percussion loop and panned it left to try to give it some balance.
Oh, that's for certain. I found my purpose. Now watch me surf it. You can catch up on this wave. You gotta catch it. Hey, you gotta catch that wave.
And I like to make little notes for myself too, so I know which track is which. So this is a string pad. So I'm gonna put strings here. I can read here on the region that says pad, so I know it's a pad. I know these are keys, but this is a better description for me to know exactly what I'm hearing. And so I like to write that down.
Oh, that's for certain. I found my purpose. Now watch me surfing. You can catch up on this wave. You gotta catch it. Hey, you gotta catch that wave.
And like I said, I'm just tweaking, just trying to get general volume. So the oohs to me are starting to sound pretty loud now, so I'm gonna turn those down a little bit.
Oh, that's for certain. I found my purpose. Now watch me surfing. You can catch up on this wave. You gotta catch it. Hey, you gotta catch that wave. Oh, that's for certain. I found my purpose. Now watch me surfing. You can catch up on this wave.
Funny, I probably would have did this exact same thing that they did with the bells. That's great. What's going on? What's going on? King of Reeds, what's going on?
Oh, that's for certain. I found my purpose. Now watch me surfing. You can catch up on this wave. You gotta catch it. Hey, you gotta catch that wave. Oh, that's for certain. I found my purpose. Now watch me surfing. You can catch up on this wave. You gotta catch it. Hey, you gotta catch that wave. Oh, that's for certain. I found my purpose. Now watch me surfing. You can catch up on this wave. You gotta catch it.
So that's a big lead. It's a mono lead. Gonna label it so I remember it.
Let you catch up on this wave. Oh, that's for certain. I found my purpose. Now watch me surfing.
So this lead is very important. Clearly, it's the melody. It's just like the vocals. So I'm gonna put it directly in the center. Well, not directly in the center because the vocals are coming in at the center as well. These ad libs that he has up here, and I think in the final hook, it might happen too. So I'm gonna leave the vocal, the lead vocal, in the center-ish, and then just pan this off just a little bit because it's just as important.
Let you catch up on this wave. Oh, that's for certain. I found my purpose. Now watch me surfing. You can catch up on this.
All right, there's a lot going on in this instrument. Let's see what this is. All right, so it's chords, guitar, and melody. I wonder if that's all of these together. Let me just check. So I'm gonna solo this tonals bus. To give it some more balance, I think I'm gonna make the bells go right a little bit because I have the clavy type of keys on the left, and I have everything's pulling left, so I want to pull something else more right. All right, now also, let me just make sure that that is exactly what this is, because I think it is. And if it is, I can mute this track. I think it sounds a little different. Hmm. Okay, I'm thinking this is probably just some kind of tucked layer, so I'm just gonna just blend it in. I'm just gonna turn it down a bit so it's not overshadowing all the individual instruments. I mean, I would argue you don't really need it. So I'll talk to them about that. I don't think we really need that track, but we'll see. I think it'll be a lot clearer, a lot crisper at the end of the mix if without that track in there. That's basically it. The only other things I really have to do is the high frequency instruments. I'll probably just do that off camera. But let's listen to make sure everything I do have is at a good volume, and then I will do the rest, and that'll be it for today. So let's listen.
Woo! I'm groovy. Fresh squeeze, no John, but still I'm that smoothie. Walk around town like you wish you knew me. See every day feel like a 4K movie. Do you know why they call me Wi-Fi? Man, I got them bars all day. I make it look too easy. Even Stevie say he see me. Top down when I slide through palm trees, moving ballet. If the mood right, I just might let you catch up on this way. I won't ask for certain. I found my purpose. Now watch me surfing. You can catch up on this wave. You gotta catch it. Hey, you gotta catch that wave. Man, I'm flying in the summer breeze. I'm riding straight up vibing. This that California every day hit up.
All right, clearly there the vocal is super loud. Let me double check that it's not super loud in the first verse.
Groovy. Fresh squeeze, no John, but still I'm that smoothie. Walk around town like you wish.
It's a bit loud, but it's not crazy. I'm gonna turn it down, and I'm gonna turn down the stack because I don't mind the stack relationship to the leads. So I want to turn them both down at the same time. And let's check this out again.
Fresh squeeze, no John, but still I'm that smoothie. Walk around town like you wish you knew me. See every day feel like a 4K movie. Do you know why they call me Wi-Fi? I'm riding straight up vibing. This that California.
Okay, this take is just clearly just a little bit louder, not a lot. So So I'm gonna use the gain tool and just gain it down by about 2 dB. Let's see if that fixes it.
I'm riding straight up vibing. This that California. Every day hit a vacation, so you know. Top down when I slide through palm trees, moving ballet. If the mood right, I just might let you. You caught the wave, but you can't swim. Take a lesson from the boy, that's a great hymn. Full of vibes on the 5, that's a great win. Gotta set a 5 roll for the late den. Hit the PCH today. Sliding bass line like a Michael J. Even if you got a late start today, it's never too late to. Hey!
All right, let me check the snare one last time. All right, so that's basically it. Doing a general volume with the premix. I got to do the rest of the hi-hats and the rest of these instruments right here, but I'll do that off camera, like I said. And those don't take too long. What I like to do is I like to turn the volume kind of down, listen at a low volume, because just the way our ears are, they work, it's better to, for me, I found it better to do the high frequency stuff at a low volume, because we're going to pick up on it easier. And when it's low, you're going to pick up on that first. And so you know if it's too loud. But you got to check it loud and you got to check it soft. After a while of doing it, you get better at gauging the right volume, especially in your environment. We all have our own listening environments and we get used to them. There's a learning curve. I've been in this one for almost a year and a half, and I'm really starting to dial it in now. So it took maybe 9 months to really get the hang of the room. And that's what it takes sometimes. So that's it for today. I'll be back on, I believe, maybe tomorrow, but I'll definitely be back on Thursday at 1. So just showing you guys behind the scenes of what I'm working on. If you want to work with me, KofiAJmusic.com. Also, you could just send me a DM and I'll check those and send you to the right place. Hosting webinars all week, Wednesday and Sunday, 1 p.m. Private webinars. You have to get the link to the Zoom. And I'm breaking down how I work, how to book me, how to get me to mix and master your song, or to produce a track for you as well. That's it for today. I'm Kofi J. I'll see y'all possibly tomorrow, but definitely Thursday. And if you're joined up from our webinar on Wednesday, I'll see you Wednesday. All right, I'll check y'all out later, and thanks for watching. Peace.